You know, in a sport that relies on building strength and speed at its foundation to improve performance on the field, there's one uncovered secret that most coaches and athletes don't know about. Think about this. How much time a week do we spend game planning for an upcoming opponent? 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours a week, maybe more? We're looking for the principle of the slight edge, a chink in the armor to exploit, anything to give us the upper hand on our opponent. Or how much time do we spend in the weight room or on the track? Countless hours in the practice field making sure we're mentally sharp, yet the number of mental errors is on the rise. And they're occurring at critical moments in the game. The reality is, our kids these days are distracted. To get them focused is a tough thing. They have all kinds of things to stimulate them, and that's a topic for another day. But just imagine what it would be like if your team was mentally dialed in, mentally sharper than the other teams that you faced. And they didn't jump off sides in critical moments. And that one key area missing from our preparation that no one else, I guarantee, in your league, in your conference is focusing on is that 16-ounce sponge between your ears, right? They say that 90% of the game of football is played from the eyebrows up. If so, how come we have not tapped into that muscle to refine it and make it better, like we do our regular muscles in the weight room? Introducing the Unstoppable Athlete Program. This program focuses on strengthening the mental side of the game and provides athletes with the maximum level of performance possible based on strengthening the mental aspect, their mental aspect, imagination, visualization, however you want to call it. But let me introduce myself. My name is Vince Palko. I'm a former college standout, Butkus Award nominee. I played a few years over in Hamburg, Germany, professionally, founder of the Unstoppable Athlete Mind Power game, and I have a passion for what I'm about to share with you. And the chances are good you've never heard of me. I was a slow middle linebacker who played in the mid-90s. My first 40 time was timed using a sundial. I ran a 4.95, but the weird part of it is I still hold the tackle record at BGSU some 20-some years later. We won't say how many years later. And the crazy part about that is I was so slow, coaches took me out of nickel situations. Anything second and long, third and long. And that was my junior and senior year. So that part gets compelling. How in the world did this young man make all these plays? And the reason is I focused on strengthening that mental sponge between my ears, and I never took a false step, and I was always in position. And in more of those secrets, essentially, that I used on the field, I have in the program that I'm presenting to you now, that I've rolled out to different high schools and colleges, and it's going extremely well, very receptive to young athletes all over the state of Ohio and pretty soon even further. But imagine what it would be like to have athletes have quicker response time. And there's data on that we can show you. Meditation, visualization, all this stuff is producing quicker athletes. Quicker response times, quicker reaction, so they don't have to think, they just react. Imagine what it would be like to have less mental breakdowns, less mental errors, less penalties in critical moments, and more sustained drives when we're all on the same page. These are all outcomes that come out of the Unstoppable Athlete, How to Get to Titletown program that essentially is available to roll out to your team. So a little bit about the program. You know, each session is designed to have 8 to 10 athletes around the table for an hour, hour and a half experience. Now most coaches going in say, yeah, right, Vince, you're gonna have the attention of my players for an hour to hour and a half. The reality is They're pretty much engaged with this information. They actually love it, and they're sponges for it. They want to improve their craft. So let's take a look at some of the feedback that we've been receiving from a few of the many sessions that we've run over the last couple of years.
What I like was all the tools you could use like immediately. It's nothing too complicated. It doesn't have a lot of rules with it. It's just easy stuff you do to make yourself better.
Meditation.
You like the meditation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like this, the mind power thing. Kind of just proving that you set yourself up for failure if you focus on, or if you picture yourself failing and you picture yourself succeeding, then you have more of a chance of succeeding. So
Give you a new way to visualize.
Give you a new way to visualize. Awesome.
Giving ourselves goals, like on what we wrote down.
Yep.
I think how you're kind of able to explain to us that we're already all visualizing all the time,
Yeah.
and just getting us to kind of dial into it a bit more and really just take control of it so we can get more out of it.
Sure. Cool.
You can also apply it to more than just football.
Yep. Ideally, these sessions can be done any time in the week before a game or in training camp. We can work around your schedule and what fits best with the planning for the week, or if you're still in training camp, the planning around that. So we're very flexible on that front. Having your players dialed in and mentally focused is the new edge that could spell a championship in your future. If this program can take me from average to good, it can take good players and make them great. It's a program that can work for receivers, offensive line, quarterbacks, linebackers, defensive backs. We all have to know our assignments. We all have to picture success going up against the opposition. And there's really no position on the field that can't use this program to enhance their level of play and become mentally sharper and activate that 16-ounce sponge between your ears for maximum performance on the field. So simply fill out the form on this page, and a representative will get back to you on potential times at work and kind of figure out the nuts and bolts of scheduling this within your organization, your team, or your school.
This is Vince Palko. He played football with me at Bowling Green. He played on the MAC championship team that when I was a senior, I believe you were a redshirt freshman. And then he played on another MAC championship team and should have been on a third if not for a fat punter from Central Michigan running about 80 yards with the ball. But one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. You know, I've known him since we were in our 20s, and as you can see, that's a long time. He was a two-time MAC Defensive Player of the Year. So bounced around a little bit professionally in football, and then has gone into, he'll explain what he does for a business now. But Vince has always been interested in visualization and how you visualize something before you do it to help your performance. So he takes his artistic ability and applies it to that, and is basically coming up with a program to use for athletes. So he wanted to use you guys kind of as a test to see how it goes.
Thanks, Coach.
In case you want me to tour with you someday, I'm available, man.